Hello and welcome to another edition of Coach's Corner on the Riverhawks Sports Network. I'm your host, Mike Nevins, and joining me today is head coach of the Susquehanna field hockey team, Allison Fordyce. Coach, how are we doing today?
Good, Mike. Thanks for having me.
So this season has tested your team, to say the least. You've added a ton of nationally ranked out-of-conference opponents. You've won 7 of your last 10 and are currently on a 4-game win streak. How do you motivate your team to keep working hard when it seems like things aren't exactly going right?
I think what's been so special about this season is just that we've had such a belief in what we knew we could do, but we had to really earn it. So I think coming back as landmark champions and then entering your season right after, I don't think we realized at first just how hard it would be, that it doesn't just happen, that you have to go back and attack every game, from the get-go. So our team really just started to develop a really strong belief. We had to have a short-term memory for a couple of those weeks in the middle there, but they just keep coming out every day and really taking it one day at a time.
So talking about earning it, you've played in 4 overtime games this year. With so many games having all that character added to them, why should this team be considered to make another run for a ring?
I think this team is unbelievably resilient, and something that they have continued to show me is that their work ethic is unmatched. We had some heartbreakers and some overtime losses. We had some tough, penalty strokes, things that, kind of can really get you down, but they choose to just kept rising above because at the end of the day, they know what it feels like to play for a championship. We returned, 20 plus players this year, so there's such a winning mentality on the team that they were so hungry to get back to that game that they just kept putting one foot in front of the other and just unbelievably resilient.
So you say you returned 20 players this year, but would you say this year's team is almost a carbon copy as last year, or are there new contributors?
It's actually completely different. In terms of players on the field, there's a lot of similarities, there's a lot of carryover, but the makeup of the team and the shape of the team is so different every year. We added some great freshmen to our program, but we've seen so many sophomores step up and really start to come into their own. So even though there's so many of the same faces on the team, the personality of the team is different every year, and you're growing and adapting to the personnel that you have. So I think we look the same on the field in terms of visually, but I think underneath the surface there's been a lot of changes in terms of just our gameplay.
So you're entering very familiar territory this weekend, tomorrow, November 5th. Traveling down to Washington, D.C., playing Catholic University. You were in this position last year. What's the message you're sending your team before this game?
So we take this game as a faceless opponent. We always talk about playing the ball, and we really talk about playing our style of play. We play our best against our toughest opponents when we execute our game plan really well. So we don't necessarily try and change a lot going into this game, but we just try and really capitalize on what we do well. We had a tough overtime loss against Catholic at home in the regular season. So I think when it all shakes out, they're a really tough opponent, but I think the team is really hungry to take another chance at them. We were able to beat Scranton and beat Elizabethtown, the other 2 teams in the tournament during the regular season. So I think they have a score to settle with Catholic and really, want to prove that they can hang with the number 2 team in the conference.
Excellent. So with all that being said, if this team is going to be remembered for one thing, what is it going to be?
Work ethic.
Work ethic. Excellent. Okay, Coach Fordyce, thanks for coming on the show today. Good luck in the conference tournament.
Thank you. I appreciate it.